We were both born and raised here in Houston, Texas, but we're about to move up to Oregon, to the Portland area.
Radical.
Radical. It's a big change. In this video, we're going to share each of our top 5 things that we're going to miss about Houston.
Or not.
So stay tuned. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags and small goods to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. And one of the perks of subscribing to my channel is you get to see my community posts on your YouTube homepage, where I post deals, discount codes, sales, and rare finds related to these beautiful things we love. I'm going to start with my top 5 things that I will miss, and then Paul will do his. By the way, this is Paul.
I'm Paul.
And he's my husband. And then I'll say the things that I won't miss, and he'll say his won't misses. So my first thing that I will miss the most about Houston is my mom. That's the only thing I would think I'm sad about. But to be honest, it really hasn't hit me yet because I'm so excited about going up there and starting this new adventure that we're going on. And I'm so busy with doing all the things we need to do beforehand that I haven't had a lot of time to really think about that and let it sink in.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Mary tremendously. I mean, I'm family now. And just in the years that I've gotten to know Mary, she's just wonderful, and I'm going to miss her terribly. She's one of the best friends I have.
Number 2 on my list is margaritas at a restaurant nearby called Picos. Now, Picos has the best margaritas in Houston, and they have a pretty extensive margarita menu. So we call ourselves margarita connoisseurs, and we appreciate different kinds of margaritas. We're not the people that go in and order the house frozen margarita, because that's not a real margarita. Yes. Ask anybody in New Orleans, they'll tell you that. Mm-hmm. We like the traditional and classic and pure, is the word I'm looking for, margarita that has 3 ingredients. What are they, Paul?
Tequila, triple sec or some sort of orange liqueur, and lime juice. That's
right.
It.
That's it. That's all that should be in a margarita. And it should have salt on the rim, and you're supposed to drink it and get salt with the drink. That's part of the experience. So Picos does margaritas right, and we will miss those. The thing is, Paul also does margaritas right. So I probably won't miss them as much as I think I will, because Paul knows how to make an amazing margarita. Lots of amazing margaritas.
It's funny, just yesterday we were there and having margaritas, and I've said this a few times when we were at Picos, but there are lots of places in Houston that make good margaritas, but at Picos their margaritas taste exactly like mine, and I've always wanted to go back in the kitchen and say, what are your ingredients? Because I think they're making them exactly like I do. Same proportions, who knows?
Next on my list, number 3, is Rudy and Pacos crab bisque. So Rudy and Pacos is our favorite restaurant, and it's not even in Houston, it's in Galveston. And they have the most incredible crab bisque that anyone in the world has ever had. It is amazing. And Paul, every time we go there, we finish up and he asks if he can go into the kitchen and lick the crab bisque pot.
They won't let me do it.
They have not yet let him do it, but we may try one more time and let them know that we're leaving and this is his last chance. And, we'll see.
One time a waiter came to pick up my crab bisque bowl before I was through with it, and I threatened to hurt him.
He did. I will also miss, honestly to a lesser degree than these other things, but I'll miss the Houston Galleria, and particularly having Becca there. And I don't mean to say that I won't miss Becca, like that's to a lesser degree. I'm talking about the Galleria and all the stores. And that has to do with, of course, my channel. I'm all about handbags, and it's really helpful for me and convenient to have the Galleria like a mile from where we live right now, and to be able to go visit the boutique standalone shops, the Fendi, the Louis Vuitton, the Chanel, the whatever else. Hermes is also over here. They're not at the Galleria, but they're even closer to where I live now. And there's not an Hermes in Oregon. They do have a Louis Vuitton in Portland, and they have a Chanel, and they have Nordstrom, I think. downtown that has a lot of the brands, so I'll be able to go there and look at things in person, but it's definitely not the same thing as having the Galleria at my fingertips. The number 5 thing, and perhaps besides my mom, the thing I will miss most, the thing that I will miss most deeply and will not have a replacement for in Oregon, is Bluebell ice cream. And anyone who has ever had that knows what I'm talking about. We have tried lately. Bluebell's gotten really expensive here. When I was growing up, it was $3-4 for a half gallon, something like that. Now it's up to about $8 for a half gallon. It's crazy expensive, worth every penny, but so expensive. So lately we've tried, when Bluebell hasn't been on sale, we've tried Tillamook, and I'm sorry, but that's just not ice cream. Now, when we were on the coast last summer, we did find some little standalone places, and it was something Rock Creamery. I don't remember now. And they had a Amarena ice cream with cherries, like dark cherries. That was really good.
Maybe someone can tell us.
Yeah. Oh, and you know, they do have good ice cream. I just remembered this. So when we were in Portland about a month ago looking at apartments, we came across an ice cream place in Multnomah Village that had fabulous ice cream. But I don't know if you can buy pints and stuff to take home.
That's the problem.
Yeah, you go there and you get cones, and they're like fancy flavors, you know. Delicious, amazing ice cream, but I'm talking about going to the grocery store and bringing ice cream home. I don't know that there's going to be any, well, I do know there won't be anything comparable to Bluebell.
If it sounds like we're obsessing over Bluebell, we are.
Yeah.
I even heard a rumor that one of the President Bushes, can't remember which, would have this the Bluebell flown in to Washington.
Yeah, they do that. You can have it shipped to you with dry ice, but it's very expensive, more than $8. All right, Paul, what are the 5 things you will miss most about Houston?
Well, the number one thing is my friends. Again, I've lived in Houston all my life, and that's been quite a few years. And I've got so many friends in Houston that are still my age and still around, going back to grade school. And I'm going to miss them terribly because, again, I've lived with them for so long, and I'm leaving possibly for who knows forever. I may never see them again. And when I say friends, I want to take a second. This not only includes the guys that I went to high school with, who mostly still live in Houston. We had a rock and roll band back in high school. But also, there's 2 groups of people that I'm going to miss terribly, and that's the Texas Medical Center people. And when I say that, I'm talking about UT Physicians. I'm going to do some plugs here. UT Physicians is the medical group that I've been going to for years. I worked in the Texas Medical Center my whole career. And they are the best group of physicians I've ever known in my life. They are just tremendous. I'm going to miss them terribly. They're like friends to me. My dentist, again, she's a dear friend. She's just the best dentist in the known universe. I'm going to miss her terribly. And it's just all of these people. I'm going to get emotional if I keep talking about it, but it's going to be really hard not seeing them, often like I do. Restaurants. I'm going to list them. Ragin' Cajun, Rudy and Pacos that she mentioned, and BB's. BB's and Ragin' Cajun are 2 Cajun restaurants in Houston that are excellent. And we go to one or the other depending upon circumstances, but I'm going to miss that because so far we haven't seen much in the way of Cajun restaurants in Oregon. We'll see, but...
Now, we did see the one place, I think it was in the Multnomah area, that was a Chinese food and Cajun restaurant.
Gosh.
So
you have a picture of that.
I do. We will have to check that out sometime, cautiously.
Yeah. The 4th thing I'm going to miss is Texas barbecue. My gosh, we're Texans. We lived in Texas all of our lives. And Texas barbecue is just one of those iconic things about Texas. And we're going to miss that. And again, we may find barbecue in Oregon, but I'm not looking forward to the quality that we have here.
I found, I think it was through a Facebook group maybe, that there's a restaurant there that claims to be Texas barbecue.
Oh.
That it was somebody from Texas that went up and started it. And so we'll check that out and we'll see. I'm not a big barbecue fan. I enjoy barbecue when I have it, but I never really crave it. I just don't eat that much meat.
I've eaten it all my life. I've made it all my life. So, yeah. You guys up there with the barbecue place, I'm on the way. You better be ready for me. And then finally, my fifth one is the Texas wildflower season. Obviously, we're moving to Oregon. We're both photographers, and that's a huge reason we're moving up there. It's just the beauty of it all. But there's one thing about Texas that I've always loved and missed and photographed is the Texas spring wildflower season. And it's known all over the world, photo workshops come there, to photograph the Texas wildflowers. I'm going to miss that. It's beautiful.
Now we're going to talk about what we will not miss
Oh,
about Houston.
all right.
And some of it's about Texas. And we have 5, but each of us also has a bonus item because there's a reason. There are many reasons we are leaving. All right. One is, for me, the weather. It has become unlivable, in my opinion, to be in Houston. For many years now, I have felt like I can't go outside and enjoy being outside because it's just too miserable. It's hot and it's humid, and it only gets more hot and more humid, it seems like, every year. It also seems like our hot and humid time takes up more of the year. I have noticed that the seasons are shifting from when I was a kid, where, like Halloween, for example, it used to be cold at Halloween, October 31st, and now it doesn't get cold till January. And barely. It used to snow here when I was a kid. Not every year, but sometimes. Every couple of years, every 2 or 3 years, we'd get snow.
Say bye-bye to that.
Yeah. I mean, well, we had that big storm that everybody knows about a couple years ago.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, people are going to point to that and be like, yes, it does. No, that was really out of the ordinary. It typically is pretty muggy here all year and uncomfortable and not enjoyable to be outside. And it keeps me indoors. It keeps me from going outside. And I enjoy nature. Like, I remember last summer when we went up to Oregon, the trip that changed our lives. We were outside so much, and we were doing all this, for us anyway, adventurous stuff and climbing up and down hills and sort of treacherous landscapes sometimes. We were like, look at us, we're outdoorsy. And it's not that we were never outdoorsy, it's just we can't go outside here. It's too miserable, but you can up there, so we're looking forward to that. Number 2 that I will not miss is the traffic. Now, if I have already put out my video about us finding an apartment, we talk about running into quite a bit of traffic in Portland. So I do know that it exists there. However, I don't think it's going to be like it is in Houston. Similar to the weather, there are times of day and days of the week that I won't leave the apartment because of traffic, because I'm not about to just, as soon as I get out on a street, sit there and take, however long it takes, too long to get to places. So the traffic here is really awful, and it's only gotten worse. The number 3 thing I won't miss is the real estate market. Now, for those of you who have been watching my channel for a while, this may sound unusual, so let me explain. We have always been renters, and I have always talked about never wanting to buy a house or a property in Houston. A lot of that has to do with the flooding here, which happens every few years. You get major flooding from hurricanes and tropical storms and all that, so it's inevitable. And even when you've been in a neighborhood that you know to have never flooded, that doesn't mean it won't. For that reason, I've never wanted to buy, because I don't want to deal with the aftermath of having to rebuild after flooding and insurance and all that. It's a nightmare. But also because any neighborhood where I would actually want to own a home in Houston, I'm priced out. They're $1 million homes for even sometimes a regular house. The neighborhood that we're in right now is a mix, which you find very often in Houston, of smaller, like 1950s build, one-story ranch-style homes. Next to that original home has been demolished, and they've put up a 2-story mansion.
Georgian mansion.
Yeah, they're very expensive, but I don't want to commute into the downtown area, so I have to be in the city, and that's where I'd want to live, and those are way too expensive for me to afford. But I think that some of what I've seen in the Portland area is going to be potentially affordable for me and not have the same kinds of natural disaster issues that I'm concerned about here. The 4th thing that I won't miss, kind of surprisingly, is Galveston. I've always enjoyed Galveston. I tend to go there maybe once or twice a year so not that often. And I enjoy doing certain things there. But the reason I won't miss it is because we're about to have the Oregon coast at our fingertips. And I mean, they
Enough
just
said, drop the mic. Bam.
Yeah, I mean, they don't compare. And the fifth thing that I will not miss is the lack of things to do. This is another reason that I don't leave the apartment often. And if you noticed in my 5 things that I will miss, quite a few of those were restaurants. And that's because that's pretty much all we do. If we leave the apartment, it's because we're going to a restaurant. There's just not much to do beyond that once you've done the museums and whatever else. In Oregon, there's a ton for us to do, and it's outside. It's a bunch of nature things, so we'll get more exercise and get in better shape, I hope. Now, my number 6, my bonus item of things I won't miss about Texas, and this will also surprise a lot of you who've been watching for a few years, is the Texas wineries. We love going to wineries. That's the only other thing we do. That's the thing, like if we're looking to do something on the weekend, we go to a winery. If it's not Galveston, it's usually a winery. We love them and we enjoy them, and some of the wine is really fantastic. Some of it's just okay. But we love going to wineries, and we even will do out-of-town trips for several nights for other places that have a lot of wineries nearby. But similar to the Galveston thing, the reason I won't miss the Texas wineries is we will have the Willamette Valley wine country at our fingertips. I mean, it's right there. It's like half an hour from where we're going to be living. They have 700 something wineries for us to explore. So, I mean, that'll keep us busy for at least a week.
I think our storage unit's going to become a...
Yeah, our storage unit's going to become a wine cellar. That's
no
right.
kidding.
All right, Paul, you have 5 things you won't miss.
Well, some of them are the same, as Autumn's. I'm not going to miss the weather. Again, I've lived here all my life, and this is true. I've never gotten used to the humidity in Houston. I've lived, like in the service, I've lived in places that were very, very hot, but they were dry hot. And in Houston, with the heat, when you combine that with this horrible humidity, my joke is, I make a lot of jokes about things, and one of them is, you take a shower, you go out to get the paper, now you need a shower again.
It's true, though.
But it's true.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, August in Houston, it's just getting worse. So there's that. I'm not going to miss the traffic and construction. Now, she mentioned that about the traffic and how intense it's gotten. With me, it's just a little bit different, and that is, it's the uncivility. Again, I half jokingly and half seriously tell people who are not from Houston, I say, you come to Houston and there are speed limit signs on the freeways, and they're just absolutely meaningless. Meaningless. They're meaningless. There are suggestions. The traffic in Houston has got to where most people on freeways are driving at least 10 miles over the speed limit, and those are the slow ones who are being tailgated. And then there are people weaving in and out to get off the exits. You add that up to the thing we have here in Houston called open carry, and you really are afraid that if you tap your horn or you do something, you could be killed. And I don't miss that. I'm not missing that.
I was on the freeway once and saw somebody standing out of their car pointing a gun at someone else.
Right. Don't miss that.
Mm-hmm.
Travel distances in Texas. Again, as a photographer, I've always been frustrated in Texas where in order to get somewhere that I want to photograph that's beautiful or whatever, I have to get in the car and drive for 6 hours. Texas is huge. It's a third of the way across the United States. And so if I want to go out to the West Texas mountains or even into the hill country, I have to get in that car and drive for hours and hours. I'm not going to miss that because the thing I'm looking forward to at Oregon, of course, is being able to jump in a car and drive a half an hour away, and there it is, all this beauty. So not missing that. The lack of seasons. Again, another joke around Houston is if you don't like the weather, wait a day. You get all 4 seasons in a week. Our winter is like 2 days of 32 degrees weather. There's our winter. The rest of it is summer. So we just don't have those 4 seasons where you ease from one season into another. We're really looking forward to that in Oregon.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I had that when I lived in New York, and I loved it. So
Right.
nice.
Things you could count on. Mm-hmm. And then I have the lack of landscape. And again, it's just another way of saying that as a photographer, I've gotten jaded. I've lived here all my life, and I've kind of photographed everything that I can reach in Texas over and over again, and I'm jaded, and I'm looking forward to those new landscapes. So Texas is overall, except for the mountain ranges that we have, Texas is pretty flat. We say, well, we have mountains in Houston. They're called landfills. So I'm looking to some larger landfills when we go to Oregon. Some of them call, I think, Mount Hood.
Yeah, volcanoes.
Yes. And then I have a bonus item. I'm a jazz aficionado. I play around with jazz guitar. I studied jazz years ago, and there's really almost no jazz clubs in Houston. As far as I know, there's only one that still remains open that's a pure jazz club. And again, I don't know if it's going to be all that different in Oregon, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that, you know, there's a pretty vibrant jazz community up there with clubs to go to. Yeah.
Yeah, let us know, those of you who know.
Yeah, let us know if you know anything about that.
All right, well, that wraps up our reasons for missing Houston and leaving Houston. So, thanks so much for watching. Do appreciate it. Hope to see you back here next time, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.
Bye-bye.